Okay. This is soon, right? A week is soon. um, yeah. Anyway, before I get started, I do just want to say, don't forget for future PBs. I know this was before we announced it, but for future PBs, make sure to submit them on YouTube. Um, and if you care about having this one backed up, I would recommend uploading that to YouTube too. But that's a different subject. That's not what this is about. Okay. Um, so that's a good start. A problem a lot of people tend to have with that first door is that they will um not stand far enough back. Um, but it looks like you're doing a pretty good job of that. You can actually stand a little further back than this even and do this a little faster, but this is pretty good. Um, you come all the way up here, you can start the shot from basically as soon as you turn the corner. And you want to do that because it gives you more opportunity. Like you can stop like here, or maybe even a little earlier. And it's ideal to do so, so you have more time to run back to full speed. That way you're running at full speed when you go through the door. It just saves a little bit of time. What check do we get here? 8.4. That's pretty good. Um, I'd say it's about 3/10 you're losing there. Not a huge deal. Okay. We Ethan Hump. All right. I gotta remember to call it Ethmar Jump. The meme name is stuck in my head. Unfortunate with the boxes. That's just Iron Gate. So far, pretty textbook stuff. Obviously, you don't want to bonk on the boxes, but that's just mistakes happen. Okay, how's this dismount look? Okay, case in point about mistakes happen. Your timing was actually a little early here, so that actually kind of bailed you out. But again, that just happens. Um, in particular, how this works is that usually 25 seconds after uh after I hit the elevator is when I'll do like my pivot back and then full send jump, and every time that'll make it so you don't get trolled. That was just a little early, so yeah, that slowdown. Good movement, good movement. Didn't jump through that hall. In general, I'm seeing a lot of good mech turns, a lot of not jumping when you don't have to. Um, one thing I like to do here, this is good. But something I feel like people have gotten into the habit of is not actually jumping off of this speed pad because it makes it so you can take a tighter line here. I'm actually not certain you can see my cursor. Yeah, you can. Um, but so you can take a tighter line, so you can just go over the fence instead. You get less speed, but you take a tighter line, so it generally saves time. Um, can definitely take this line a lot tighter. You should basically be hugging this wall. Um, because even though it's more ground time spent there, if you're hugging the wall, you'll fall faster. So just a little bit there. Do not need to full send on this jump. This definitely can just be a shorter hop. Good job not bonking the door though. 109 considering the elevator mistake and the boxes is pretty good. This has definitely been a solid Iron Gate. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that while waiting. No, that's weird. Anyway, while I try to figure out what just happened with my net, no, that, I mean, as I'm sure you realize, that was not too early. That was actually a pretty good timing.
Late.
Anyway. Yeah, pretty much perfect timing. Good line here. Could come in from a little more wide out, so you don't have to correct as much on the jump, but this is good. Did definitely lose a bit there, and of course there, but that's just, that door has weird lock-ons. This is a good iron gate. Hold on, how did you do that? Let me look at how you're... That's crazy. I've never seen that method before, but that worked for you and it was fast. So, I mean, by all means. Might have to try that. Oh, one last thing. This is definitely like an invisible thing. That is still so crazy to me. So these two speed pads actually have different speed values. Right here, you definitely are grazing the middle one still. The left one does give more speed, so you ideally want to try and hit it. Don't tank your speed to do so, of course, but if you line your angles up right, you should be able to grab that left speed pad without losing speed, and it does save time. You are solid at Iron Gate though. 159 with all those mistakes that's really solid.
What happened? Did I not jump? I might have autopilot. I think I definitely went into autopilot mode.
Pretty normal split, but you know. Hey, a warm? Never mind. Oh, okay. I really thought you were about to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do warm shot. That'd have been crazy, but no, that's fair. 22.3 is actually really good. If you're getting times like that consistently, you're in good shape. I feel like a lot of runners get like 22.6, 22.7. Okay. So, at least with this starting movement, there's definitely some ways you can spruce up this movement. This right here, perfectly fine. I understand not doing the drill here, so you get a little more time to see turtle shell. I full send it on this, and I miss that piece all the time because of it. So, yeah, if this makes it so you can consistently see turtle shell, cool. What you should be doing here, instead of doing this full send jump, I'd recommend drilling on this down here. You can do a drill down on that, and you'll get a slope boost off of it, and it'll give you a lot more momentum going down here. And you do drill, but you drill after you're past the slope. If you do that right, that should just be the autopilot movement. You can still see all of the pieces just the same. It's just you go down here, and then you pivot left a bit as you walk up here, and that would let you see right coconut. And you do get that angle here. It looks like you're doing that pivot left already. I'm not sure what this slope jump is for. I guess it's to like really make sure you can see right coconut. You should already be resetting by this point though, so I would not recommend that if that's your normal flowchart. What I really recommend is just do enough of a left pivot so that you can get, let me go back, there's a perfect freeze frame for it. But just do enough of a pivot left so that you can get this angle right here. This is plenty for you to see this piece, and you would just pause at this timing, which ideally, if you're doing the good starting movement, it should be at like 2.0 or like 1.9. And yeah, so then you can just see that piece, and if it's not there, you just restart. This definitely gives you a lot more time to react to it. So if you're really concerned about missing it, that's legit. You do notice slope boost there. Definitely could have jumped later to get up here. Since you jumped so late to get onto that slope, you're getting a lot less of slope momentum from the slope you jumped on, because you jumped for a while, so you don't have a lot of momentum. You know, corner climbing. Yeah, stopped a little late there. I usually use, for this wall, I usually use like right here as my cue to start corner climbing to the right. And you do that just a little late. Yeah, that's legit. Want to make sure you get all those pieces in view if there's any. In general, I'm curious to see if this is a trend. You felt really confident with your mech movement, even when you made mistakes. You definitely feel a fair bit less confident
I think
on
I need to learn Protector of the Pawn sets.
uh on your hunting movement.
I feel like that might be a next set to learn.
And I think that's
I
just
would
that's
learn
just something
Protector
that
of the
comes
Pawn.
with time more. Talking about
Either
sets.
that
You
one
a
or
knower?
gun storage.
1024 knower?
Like the ones that I'm seeing the most.
Okay. Oh, we bufferless sandwalk. That was clean. Very nice. Yeah, got a nice nudge too. Solid movement. You didn't actually need to adjust up like that, but better safe than sorry. You should make this same bomb cycle no problem. Oh!
Oh my god,
That's
38, right? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
okay.
I need help. I need
I was
help.
about to say that
38
seems
check.
extremely good. Oh, okay. Okay. Uh wow. For starters, really good upgrade time. Yeah, just really solid all around. For 38, let me see. My PB probably has like a 39. Yeah, so 39. So generally with like a 39 or high 38, what you want to do is you'll exit the menu ideally when Eggman is like pretty much looking dead on at the camera like this. I think that's a pretty good visual cue for it. You can definitely do less than that if you're not like super comfortable with it, but um low 39s, high 38s should be definitely getting you like 130s or maybe even 129s. And with that, you're probably gonna get like, that was probably like 4 seconds just on its own. Like you can see, I pushed that a little further even. And I mean, I do make that cycle.
Oh my god, 38 check. What do I do?
But
What do I do?
anyway, let's.
I need help. I need help. This is 38 check. I don't know what to do here.
It makes sense though. If you're not used to getting checks like that, that was really clean though. Nice. You know how to shoot the other guy. Good movement. Okay, solid. Yep, easy cycle. You're still looking really good. What are we doing?
I don't know what to do.
Oh no. This was so good. You
Bruh.
just had to believe in yourself a little more. This was so good. So for context, this, I mean, this was like golden pace. And you would just jump right over to that platform, jump right over there, do Meltra Jump and go over the thing. Even if you don't want to do Meltra Jump, you definitely still had all the time in the world to make this cycle, and you would lose like 3 more seconds. Ideally just go for it, but like if you really are concerned about Sand Ocean consistency, you could just not. But anyway, this went from, this was probably like a 108 check. So even with the thing I just said with the upgrade, this was probably like a 133, 134. Let me look. Okay. Curious. Okay. So your gold right now is like a 138. This could have golded by like 4 seconds. Just with what that tells me. I don't know if this is the case. It feels like you probably haven't been sandwalking for too terribly long. But I can tell you've got the hang of it, because like you nailed that cycle, no problem. But yeah, definitely just need to realize when you have that opportunity to go and do it, because yeah, this should have been
I don't know what to do.
huge time save.
Bruh, if I PB this is gonna be so embarrassing.
Sorry. Yeah, 123. That definitely should have been like a 108. 108, 109.
38 check for nothing.
Yeah, unfortunate jump drop too. That just happens. Yeah, this is a 150 after all that definitely hurts.
38 check for nothing. Great job, buddy. Great job.
Yeah, just in general, I really would recommend. I don't even think it's like really a more practice thing, because like you had it, you made the cycle, no problem. You were on like 134 pace even after that jump failed. This was enough of a buffer for gold that you could have still golded, missing that jump. This was genuinely very fast. Like I would expect like 23 runners to be getting 134 Sand Oceans. Maybe a little better, maybe a little worse, depending on the player. But yeah, I really do think it's just believe in the fact that you made it a little more, and you should destroy this gold soon. 446. Even despite that, the 446 is still a really solid exit. I'm curious where else we're gonna lose time. Okay, I like that. Not a lot of people go for that, but it is definitely faster. Um, yeah. So far, looking good. Unfortunate about the ledge grab, but otherwise. What?
Oh my.
No. Okay. So. I'm curious actually.
It's like I haven't hit the. I've been hitting the rail all day, but the red Honda jump I just been.
Okay. So this might just be a personal choice you make, and if so, that's totally fine. I would really recommend. Uh, this is not Red Honda. This is SyiLenSa. Um, SyiLenSa is a completely different strat, and you don't see runners go for it, not because it's slower. It is actually faster than Red Honda. Um, Runners don't go for cyclists because it is inconsistent. Um, it just chooses not to work sometimes. Whereas Red Honda works all the time because of weird interactions with the back of Shadow and the spring. Basically, just makes it so that it's 100% consistent. Um, so I would really recommend just stick to doing the cycle based platforms or just learn Red Honda. Red Honda's not really that hard. But cycle lists in particular, you are just going to be eating time loss here most of the time. Um, Specifically, let me actually go. I'm sure. Oh yeah, my run doesn't have input display. Evu surely does. Awesome, perfect timing. So yeah, it is literally just a quick swipe from up counterclockwise to down, and you just do that. Shadow goes backwards. You hit the thing. Even if you angle it wrong, oftentimes you'll just end up going backwards into the cycle spring anyway, which is fine too. Um, yeah, again, just I really recommend this. Same goes for Honda 2. Um, it looks like cyclists, just like if you're looking at full speed, but you can see he is actually hitting the side there. You can do this much earlier than he is here. Devu is definitely like hard committing to this. Um, just whatever works best for you. But yeah, I would recommend learning these. If not, just don't do cyclists. Is my recommendation. If you want to do it, by all means, it is faster. It's just not consistent. Other than that, this is looking good though. Okay, legit. For the most part, you do seem to be going for a lot of very consistent strats, like this right here, for example. Um, like I definitely respect not just going for the pause hover here and just like actually doing like a bigger jump, because it doesn't lose a lot of time and you're not gonna die to this, whereas people die to the pause hover jump all the time. Nice chains. A lot of people cannot weave around those speed pads very well. I would recommend for this right here. It's a little counterintuitive, but you do actually want to tap jump here and not hold jump. Come on, Devu. Surely you don't do loop eyes. Yeah, okay. So like you'll see, for example, with Devu here, he just does a tap jump. And the reason why you want to do a tap jump is you're going down, so you'll actually maintain skewed gravity here. So the only thing you have to worry about with a tap jump is turning right too early and maybe you eat a rail and then you lose your ball state. You can still recover that most of the time even, because when you do a tap jump, you retain that skewed gravity from going down more. And so paradoxically, you get more distance from a tap jump than you do from holding jump. Holding jump can give you like some really awkward cameras sometimes and just get you killed. It's also just slower. So I would definitely recommend that. So not a mistake, just a strat suggestion. Hmm. Did you homing attack cancel there, or was that just timed wrong? Okay, yeah, just timed wrong. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, because doing a regular homing attack there instead of a cancel is important so that you get the loop speed. That got VFE. I'm surprised. That was good though. 152 is good considering the couple of mistakes and just things that could be spruced up. Or not really mistakes, the lack of getting cyclists, I guess, more specifically is what I'm saying.
This is Rouge. I've located Eggman's base and will proceed to enter it now. I hate to say it. I guess I'm going to have to.
Yeah, just in general, your shadow and mech movement does seem very good, very confident.
Bro, why do I keep getting this piece?
Okay. I would recommend Holy Altar is a green hall piece. How you handle P1s in egg quarters depends on what room the P1 is in. But for anything that is green hallway or further out, you do want to kill both of these enemies. You don't just want to kill the first one. If it's like an upgrade piece one, or like life sentence, red and silver, or like a blue room piece. You do just kill the first guy. Um, some of those don't even have either, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna say just kill the first guy. It doesn't really lose time. Um, but for these green pieces, you definitely want to kill both because this guy can have a free piece too, and if you don't get that, you're gonna feel real sad if you see what your P2 is. This is a really solid P1, by the way. As far as green goes, I would rather have blue personally. A lot. We Yanni checking? We Yanni checking? Did you just feel like it? I guess, or is this like a normal thing? You know, sometimes I get it. You know, Yanni checks are just fun. Okay, nice, nice. Don't need to read. Don't need to read the radar. Not the radar. Need to read a hint. Really good respawn set. Okay, cool. So that was better. For the most part, I like that. I mean, there was definitely some things that were just kind of like
I keep getting that same
stuff like,
three
oh, I
straight
ran into the side of the door frame or whatever. Um, unless you're just doing it for fun, uh, don't check that P3. It's not a thing. Let me really again. This keeps happening too much. I may have to like.
Like, if I don't get a run out by like 220,
Yeah, I may just have to cut these if this keeps happening. Sorry. Anyway. Okay. For the first two locks, so ideally, instead of just neutral sticking and jump shooting here, you can actually nail both of them with a slight adjustment of your stick. I'm sure Devu does this. That quarter. Oh, that's interesting. He doesn't do this. Well, anyway, I guess as you can see, there's multiple ways to ensure that you you get all of those lock-ons. Either way, you shouldn't need 2 hold jumps to do this. I would just mess with it a little more. Find out what works well for you. Unfortunate getting caught on the door, but it happens. Otherwise, looking really good so far. Nice. Can definitely jump earlier than that. Probably like almost half a second before that. Since you have upward momentum from the platform, you can jump a lot earlier than you might think. But I also understand if you just don't want to push it. 37 is pretty solid. I think runners are generally looking for 35 at top level. That's just unfortunate. I'm surprised you got hit by that door. Ring route's looking good. Unfortunate pause hover. This pause hover is just kind of tricky to get right in general. But I definitely want to say you want to be shooting a lot more aggressively at these boxes as soon as you turn over. And ideally, you want to turn a little quicker, even. So you have more time to potentially shoot at them. Because what you want to do ideally here is that you get this shot quickly enough that you can pause hover with your running momentum up to the box. I'm sure Devu at least tries for it, so I'll try to show what I mean. Yeah, okay, he gets it. This is not like a perfect example, but yeah, you can see like he still has his full running momentum here. Usually you shoot the one in the back too, which is what I think he was expecting, which is why he gets caught up here a little bit. But yeah, this is a deceptively large amount of time loss. If you don't get that, it's like over a second. I mean, obviously this is just pause hover disease. It just happens. Don't get discouraged by it. It really does. Like, pause hovers just decide to not work properly some days. Okay. You actually... This is interesting. Because you actually... Nah, I skipped past it, but I'll just talk. Jumping off of that doesn't save time, from what I'm aware. Because if you run off, even though you reach the bottom a little... Even though you reach the bottom a little slower, you get far enough forward that you activate the door's open radius a little earlier than this. If you want to keep jumping, I don't think it loses meaningful amounts of time, but just like a little optimization. I'm not watching the elevator. Kind of the same story there, actually, where like, just in general, so I think part of where this is coming from, actually, let me go to the spot. I think part of where this is coming from is like, because we jump for this door into shaft right here, and this is optimal. You do want to jump here. But you're not jumping here because it makes you fall faster or anything. You're jumping here because you notice when you're going down from a jump, it actually tilts Eggman's mech down, and that is letting you lock onto these way earlier. Like you already heard, you locked onto this, and we can't even see the door yet. So unless you're locking onto something below you, there's no reason to jump off of most ledges. You generally want to run off because more ground time is better. Anyway, let's go back to the end of the stage. Okay, solid start. I love that you don't pause hover for that one. There is no need. That is something more and more people I feel like have been implementing as of late. You definitely could stand to more aggressively try to shoot down this guy instead of just having to weave around him, but I think this was probably just like a I need to adapt in the moment kind of thing. But the big reason why you want to do it, of course, is so you can land as soon as possible so you get more time on the ground. And in particular, if you're going fast enough here, these platforms here, you can catch this platform while it's moving forward, and if you run on it while it's moving forward, you'll get just a little bit of extra momentum. That robot was trying to kill you for not killing him. That was crazy. Those shots were all around you but did not hit you at all. Looking good so far. Yeah, low 47. That's good. Good check time. But of course, pause hover disease strikes again. Even though you didn't have momentum here, you absolutely could still just hover across this gap. Just do a jump hover and go over here. You don't need to go all the way over there. Yep, looking good so far. This may not be something for right now, but I do still want to talk about it, just because it is pertinent. With jumps like this, there's not a lot of these jumps, but you'll notice more and more of them over time. This is actually not a jump that needs like a real hover. Ideally what you want to do for this jump and other jumps like it is you do a full jump and then hover at the apex of your jump, because hovering up has lower horizontal speed than jumping and hovering down. So if you can maximize the amount of time that you're hovering down, you save a bit of time. And so like this hover here, like this looks close, right? But ironically enough, with the jump hover, which I'm sure Divu does, so I can actually show you what I mean. Yeah, so you see what I mean? He waited a lot longer to start his hover, and he makes it with pretty much the exact same amount of leeway that you do. But this is faster, because it's more time spent hovering down than hovering up. Just little things. I feel it's important to emphasize little things at this point with you a lot, because you've really got the fundamentals down. Another thing I do want to mention here, it is faster to short hop off of this. And ideally what you do is you like scrape off of this platform, and it prevents you from getting as much upward momentum, and you get a little bit of room to run on that before going down. It saves quite a bit of time over just jumping over it like this. Do this pause hover closer to the platform. The thing I said about ground movement being so important before applies double for any time you're on the carrier. And so pause hovering all the way back here, you're going to make this just fine. But if you do it from like where this white line is up here instead, which I'm sure is probably about what Divu does. Yeah, so not quite as far up as I said. Where do I do it in my PB, actually? Because I feel like that was a little far away even for Divu. Okay, no, that's still about right. So not the white line, a little bit before the white line, but definitely closer than you were there. Because if you do it from closer, like this, you retain that carrier momentum, and you can actually like keep it long enough so that when you land on this first canister, you're still at full running speed. So like you'll notice in particular when you land on this, you have to like accelerate again. But if you look at this, Divu is already moving at full speed. Like this is significantly faster because the hover didn't have enough time to slow you down below regular running speed. Ooh, nice satellite jump. Okay. Nice. Very clean. Yeah. That was really good for sure. I feel like without the pause hover disease, this was probably like a 124, maybe even a 123. With those extra improvements, it would probably go down to like a 122. That's kind of what I mean. It's just like you have to at this point because you're a 25 runner and like you're at the point where you clearly understand for the most part everything you're supposed to be doing. But those little things are definitely just what you should be looking at this point. I can't. So this was also just you getting a little bit of unfortunate luck there. For this first hit, I would recommend holding more of an upright angle and just mashing B instead of doing this where you hold up. You're losing like almost a whole second to this. There's still gonna be variance, but like Divu's holding this like upright angle, nails him. You can do it even more greedy than this. But yeah, that's the difference between like a high 14 and a low 13. Or like maybe even a 12 if you get particularly lucky. You did also just miss the first shots, which kind of compounded it. And Tails' AI is just kind of finicky sometimes, but yeah. Do we have yellow safe set?
5 minutes should be plenty. Here I go.
Yes, I assume. I don't know, you might have red safe set. You might be crazy like me. Okay. So this worked out here. But I would really recommend for this P1, it's generally better to stay high. Because if you stay high here, I believe there is a hint behind you that you can grab. Get information quicker. In this case, this worked out pretty well just because you get your P2 hint and you're just like, oh wow. But also you did have to make a detour even to get to that P2 hint. But yeah. Okay, so this is another like hunting has all sorts of like niche little applications like this that you're only going to know if you watch somebody hunt for a long time or you hunt for a long time. So it's definitely not the kind of stuff I can go over in just one VOD review. But this is another one that's just relevant to this particular one. So assuming you hit this guy right, normally what would happen here is that this hint would still be inactive. You can see right now that this hint is inactive as you're grabbing this piece. So you wouldn't be able to grab it normally, right? Well, what you would do is you would use something called hint storage, where you would run up to it like this and you would press B, and it wouldn't give you the hint yet because the hint's not active yet, but it stores the process of grabbing that hint. And so then you would hover across like you are here, but you would hover low enough so that when you get close to the end of this updraft, you would actually catch the updraft, and you'd be close enough to this hint right here that your hint storage would go off and you would read this hint instead. Again, this is just a thing of like, watch more hunting. This is the right pathing to go from this P2, but this is definitely important to do. And even if you're not getting the hint storage like this is still important to do, because hunting characters have hover frames just like speed characters. And what you can do off of these updrafts is once you've hit an updraft, you can hold A. Don't glide, but you hold A, and it puts them in like the pre-glide state, and they can use their hover frames with that updraft. And so that lets you go all the way up onto this platform. I can find you a video example of this after I send this to you if you'd like. But I think that does a good enough job of explaining how it works. Basically, that's important for a few pieces in Security Hall, where you'll use the updraft to get to this platform in particular without having to climb on it or climb on these walls. I believe our P3 shows up once in a while. Okay, good. This is another thing I actually can talk about. This one's, you just made that cycle. What? Okay, you know, apparently there's something I don't understand here. This is very surprising. So usually with this P3, it's on a bit of a weird cycle where you actually have to climb right up this a little bit so that the piece actually loads in once you're already grounded. So like you climb up and right, and then you go left while running, and that spawns the piece in later, so you can grab it before it falls off like this. I guess you're just the goat for this, I guess, because you swoop past this laser. This is crazy. Like this is just like minor crazy stuff to me, and you handily make this piece cycle.
Let's go. I caught the first rotation.
Oh yeah, you're saying it even.
Thank you, lad.
If you're ever struggling to make that cycle with your current movement, you could try the thing I was talking about where you climb up the wall a little further to the right. But apparently you don't need the right climb if you're just the best. All right, we are caught back up. 12:22. This is like okay. Yo, wow, okay. We jump strat. I'm so proud. I'm so proud to see runners in the modern era just using this as the standard. I don't know who in particular told you to do it this way, but I just want to say I love that person, whoever that was. If that was me, then I'm sorry. Apparently that's narcissism. But I don't remember telling you to do that, and you're doing that method. That was clean. You could definitely, I want to go back to this actually a little bit. You can definitely push these a little further. Ideally you can be getting like 31s or like even 30s in this fight if you're like really pushing it. And I think the big crux of it was this spiral was pretty late, and you're overcorrecting to the left here. So the cycle manips on these two spiral hits are in two pretty different places, but they're close. This first one, this turn here, like the way Flying Dog is facing right now, this is like pretty much good enough. If you were to hit Flying Dog while he's facing this angle, he would get manipped for this hit. He would not get manipped for the next hit with this angle. He would get manipped with this one. And the problem with overcorrecting to the left is it actually causes Flying Dog to have slower pivot animations between hits. So like you'll see here. Here we're gonna okay, so he starts at around 2187, and then he starts again at about 2435. So that's about 3.5 seconds. And let's go to so this is a good pivot hit. Okay. So yeah, this is really good by Devu. This is like pretty much like textbook angle that you want to be hitting him at for this first spiral hit. And so he starts turning at 2097, and he's already started locking on again by 2280. So that is like a second and a half. Because if you remember, it was 3.5 seconds of him waiting for you. Let me double check that. Okay, 2184. My math is wrong. It's like 2.8. So it's almost a full second. That's still a fair bit, especially when it happens twice, which I believe is what happens here. Because, yeah, you overcorrect very far to the left here, too. And so that plus the issues you were having with setting up spirals makes it so that you're actually losing quite a bit of time on those. Like, I would say you probably lost about 2 seconds per hit on those hits, and the rest of the fight was really good. And those 2 hits in particular are the really important ones for optimizing this fight. They're not usually the ones that people have quite as much trouble with as soon as they're aware to not overcorrect super far to the left. Nice stick. Okay. Kind of like what I was saying earlier, I think it's like an Iron Gate, about like doing too much on jumps. This is you just need a tiny tap jump here to slow yourself down if you're doing this for safety. A big jump like this, not necessary. Just do a small tap jump and come at it from the right. You'll be just fine. It's just losing like little bits of time. Nice weight jump. Okay. I would recommend if you're doing this setup where you just do the homing attack off of the guy, either keep holding B to do the spin dash or just do a regular homing attack to get up here, because I have this issue too where I won't do this, but that's because I use this as a backup. But yeah, I would recommend one or the other, because if you try to tap and then repress B, you're gonna get somersaults like this all the time. Nice invincibility? That's crazy. I didn't even know there was an invincibility there. I guess notably with this wall run, you can actually like run up this wall and turn if you want. And that can be good because like you see here, where since you jumped while you were still running up, that gave you this extra height. That's probably why I've never seen this invincibility before, honestly, because you're getting a lot of extra height here. So even if you didn't lock onto this invincibility, you're still losing quite a bit of time here, even if you end up homing attacking forward. But also, that is very funny. Let's see. Nice. We get spring skip every day. I will say, when you get the good spring skip like this, let me see. How did you? Okay. When you get the good spring skip like that, just keep holding directly up. I know that feels intimidating. But don't try to weave around this guy. You'll have storage. Especially here since you had invincibility, but you're not usually gonna have invincibility. But if you just hold up and B, you'll just storage through this guy, and then you'll storage into this guy, and he'll just stop you. And it's a really consistent setup to just get you into a spot where you can successfully make that jump. I would also recommend one, either do this spin dash jump a little lower, which sounds like it's riskier, but it's not so much in practice because you're on a slope down here, right? So Shadow, when he jumps, has a bit of that downward slope in his angle. So if you're jumping when the ground is more flat, you're not going to have as much issues with that. But the ideal of what you do is that you just weave around these speed pads and you just do a spin dash hover. Do you even hover? I think you hover. I'm going to say you hover. If you find that you can make it without a hover, you don't hover. But I'm 99% sure you hover. Brain is not working right now. But anyway, you hover off of the right side. And notably what that lets you do is whenever you do this jump like this, you generally need to do a homing attack cancel so you can cleanly make it into the loop. If you do the other thing where you spin dash hover over here, you can make it through the loop and you can do just a regular homing attack. And regular homing attacks let you get loop speed. And so you'll get the loop speed here and you'll go flying down the loop.
I'm glad that I hit that robot.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, if you didn't hit that robot, you were probably in... Oh. Yeah. Yeah, you really gotta watch for this spike guy. This is unfortunately a pretty common death that can happen. I wonder, did you try to save yourself here? You actually probably could have. You did. You just pressed A too early. Yeah, that's an unfortunate death. Well, good to know that this is probably like a 24 run in practice that just had a 30-second death in it. What is this song? I'm sorry. I'm just... Oh, nice fast FR through the... At least you got caught on the ledge. I've definitely seen that happen sometimes where they just sail off, and I mean, that would actually just be dead run. Yeah, no, I feel that.
Why is the physics like when you get hit, you get like
Maybe I didn't try hard
you
enough.
repulse like so far away, bruh?
Mm-hmm.
There's only one real Sonic. Bring it on.
Hey, we're a storager. All right, well, you do it consistently, so awesome. Good song choice. Everybody knows the 280 ADX choice is the most important one in the game. It's just a vibe check. If you don't have Sonic R music or Eurobeat, you fail. This is a joke. Okay. 43.98. What? Let me watch this a little closer, actually.
I'm still playing for this 24.
Plan for the 24. Yeah, so you do that. This may not have PP skip. That might be all that happened here. Oh no, that's what happened here. Okay, so boost routing is really important for 280. You want to pop your first boost right here as soon as you land from this hill. As long as you do that, there should be no risk of you running into any of the cars. But yeah, you definitely want to pop it here instead of waiting, because you're a lot slower until you pop that boost. In particular, it's also very common for you to get enough momentum here where you hit this ceiling, which would slow you down even more. So if you're not doing this boost, you're losing even more time if you happen to hit the ceiling. You didn't here, but you definitely still want to hit that boost as soon as you land from that downhill. Definitely could have taken that line sharper. Just in general, race line wise, you want to be starting wide and going in sharp. So like on this turn, like this turn's pretty good, but you would want to hold a little more left there. That way you can take like this kind of line. Or this, okay, this is a better view. You'd come in like this instead of like that. Anytime you lose from nudging walls is going to be more than made up for from just better lines. And like this is another good example. You want to like come up here on the left and then turn sharp into this right wall. Whereas now you were like actually almost hitting this blue car because of the line. This is like almost a whole second on that first check. I'm usually not like a big person on like 280 matters a lot, but like there definitely is time to be saved here if you're like really looking for it. Okay. I'm gonna end up mostly just regurgitating a lot of stuff from the Geek tutorial, but I am gonna just talk about it here too. There's two downhills in 280 where you want to brake as you go over them. This is one of them, where you actually brake here so that you can land on this downhill. Whereas you see, you did not brake, you land right on this flat surface. And when you land on the flat surface instead of the downhill, you're losing a lot of momentum, because landing on that downhill gives you the downhill momentum and also lets you land a little earlier. Airtime is slow. And by extension, you actually do get it here because you didn't brake on the previous one, I believe. But you could even get a little more. That jump that you just did, it's kind of just like a cascade effect, where like you didn't brake here, so you're slower, and then off of this jump, you want to briefly release A and then repress it while you're in the air, and that'll make it so you land on this downhill behind you, which is same thing, where it gives you significantly more speed. You did pop your boost there anyway. Um, the boost can be pretty good to pop here. Some routes do it, but they usually wait until they're on this before popping the boost. Since you popped it right before you did another midair, the thing I was just telling you before about not landing on downhills, tanking your speed, you just popped that boost and you just lost a lot of that boost speed. And this is the other jump where you want to brake right before you go off of this so that you can hit this downhill. This is the most important one. This is like a big downhill. And if you miss it, you land right here in the ravine, which is even more punishing. Like you can see, you're moving quite a bit slower than you would be if you had full boost momentum. So catching those downhills is really important. Pop that boost a little later. You wanna wait a little bit after jumping before popping the boost. Usually more when you're like towards the peak of your jump. That way you don't get as much airtime, because airtime is bad.
Bro,
So that taxi's going crazy. So like this is a 127. I feel like most really good 280 runners get like 124s or like maybe even like high 123s off of this. So it adds up. It's not a lot for each individual thing, but your lines are looking better on this third section, I will say. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, nice. Didn't even hit the wall. Yeah, but the beauty of 127, you barely beat that blue car cycle, thankfully. Ooh. Nice. Yeah. Tanked the car, really had no choice. Yeah, these cars in the tunnel are really just something you get used to with experience. They pretty much have two positions on the road. They'll either hover the right like this, or they'll hover the left. So there's almost always a way around them. And if you play on certain paces enough, you'll notice which side you need to be on. I would not know this one in particular. Oh, this boost is. Let's go back here. Where do you pop this? Okay, yeah, that's why. Similar to what I was saying earlier about the boost at the last big ramp, you actually want to wait till you're landed to pop this boost, because you've already lost a lot of your speed right off the bat, and then you lose even more. So this is probably gonna be like a 248 if I had to guess. Maybe a little better. Yeah, like 47. So I feel like most high level runners get about 242s here.
with those three cars, it's probably five, then, bro.
Oh, it was still at 246. Okay. So there's definitely some time there. But of course it was also just cars were on bad cycles. You know, it happens.
Shadow, they're in that blue plane. Spotted at 11 o'clock.
Copy that. I'm in pursuit.
Let's go. We love people who restart. A lot of people don't do that restart for some reason. Oh. So regarding homing attacks versus homing attack cancels, whenever you're going into an upwards incline like this, you actually just want to do a regular homing attack and not cancel. Not just for the sake of not getting a somersault like this, but because it is actually just faster, even if you don't get the somersault. You don't lose a lot of time there. Just, again, little things. Spring of Shame. Unfortunate. Hate that part of Skyrail. This is definitely another thing where you're committing a lot to these jumps. A tap jump will do just fine for this, because a tap jump both gives you less jump height and also keeps your momentum more. So even though, yeah, you easily make it here, you would easily make it with a tap jump from there too. It would be very similar amounts of distance. From these pumpkins, it's very important, in particular from the second to the third one here. These are slanted surfaces. They're not just flat ground. So, like, there's a plane about here that's like a trapezoid, like you can see. And then notably, there's another plane like here. And like this is the sweet spot of where you want to hit. Like here, I'll show you on Divu PB again. Oh, skipped past it. Oh no, of course Divu does IL rail switch. Fine, you get my PB then. I forgot. Divu's just nice like that. Okay, so yeah, you can see the notable change as I go across the trapezoid here, and you want to get on this trapezoid right here because it's angled down slightly, and so you see Shadow has a lot lower of a launch angle, which saves quite a bit of time. Whereas when you jump off of this, you see you have crazy amounts of height here. This is a full spin dash jump whenever you do it off of this angled surface like this. Do keep in mind, it's not really like a tap jump, but it's still a lot faster because you just have the lower angle by default. And it's clear you do know about the slants because you know you have to do that for that pumpkin jump there, but it is relevant for the previous pumpkin too. How long did we hold that jump? That looked like we were holding that jump for a while. Yeah. What matters more for making sure you don't spike yourself into the abyss is the stick angle, which you do here, to try and make sure that you break gravity so your fall speed resets. Good. Otherwise, though, just a little bit of time save there. You wanna angle this homing attack here a little more aggressively because you can nail this guy right here. You want to angle a little closer because it's either this guy or this guy. I actually don't remember which, but either way, if you angle yourself closer, Shadow will get a nicer homing attack here where he'll go down ever so slightly. And that'll make it so you land a lot quicker than this and you don't lose time. Like,
finally, bro. All right.
Like without the Spring of Shame, that was probably like a high 44, and those other mistakes are probably like about 2 seconds difference. Yeah, let's see the egg golem. We got good mashing. Unfortunately, our into the setup is a bit off of what we would ideally want. So for the JW, setup, it's very important that you mash out of this egg golem cutscene extremely fast. What happened here is you mashed a little late out of it, and so he's actually turned a little more to the right than he would normally be. And so a lot of these shots, like these shots here, these are criticals. You're hitting the right area and you're doing criticals. But as soon as we start seeing that, there was definitely some shots there that weren't criticals. Your mashing speed was great here. So if it wasn't for literally that just tiny thing that just happened to you, you wouldn't have had to correct further to the right like this. And the third one would have opened up quicker. And ideally how this happens is when you do it that way, he raises his left from your perspective, his right fist. Whereas here he's raising his left fist to hit you. And when he does that, you can do a hover and you can lock on to these middle ones while you're shooting at the weak spot. And he'll raise his right fist, which will let you easily lock onto these and then these. And that's ideally what you want here. Whereas here, this was a little awkward, so you were just stuck here for a little bit more. And so we get a 19. So there's about 4 seconds there, I would say. 3 if you want to be safe. But again, I don't know if that's how that normally looks for you, or okay, we got 3 colored. Solid P1. We got our upgrade skip. That is a wild upgrade skip, but it definitely works. Okay. I'm definitely not used to seeing people do it that way. Nice ping read. You can grab that like that. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna check for that too because of yesterday. Oh, I was about to check for this.
Oh no, the Yanni checks. This is huge paperweight. Okay. Yeah, that's a solid set.
It's the same set I had yesterday.
And I assume you can do this upgrade skip. Nice. Okay. Good med space.
That's the same exact set I had yesterday. Oh my god, I was gonna check for this. I was like, oh wait.
Do not check for this. Do not. Do not. But you know, that was good though. You did good on that one. Oh geez, I fast forwarded too much. Okay. Yep. He doesn't do the punch combo when you do the first hit a little slower like that. That's interesting. I haven't noticed that before. But either way, good fight. You can definitely do the first hit a little earlier than that. In which case he always does the punch combo. But that's how I do the first hit too. That's how I do all of it. Okay. So Cosmic Wall is a bit of a weird one. And I feel like this is a stage that a lot of people struggle to break regular mech habits with. This is the secret 4th place style, or I guess secret 5th play style if you count cart. So for Cosmic Wall here, quick hovers are bad in Cosmic Wall. Because how it works basically is you get a lot more vertical height from your actual jump, or like a lot more vertical speed from your actual jump than you do from your hover. So what you want to do is you want to let the upward part of your jump play out before you hover. And that's true for like basically every jump in the stage. There's like the only exception is probably like the jump you make for Swiss cheese. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. So like it makes even gaps like this pretty slow. That one was a little better. But that third jump, that's about the timing you want on basically every jump. The other thing, major thing I'm going to say here is you do hover brake here. You hover brake very late, and when you only do one with this, it often doesn't actually stop the upward momentum as quick as you'd like. You usually want to do like two. So it's like A, tap, tap. Let me pull up my cosmic wall to show you what I mean. Too far forward. So yeah, you delay your hovers like this, and then yeah, you do like a double tap right there because of what I was saying earlier in weapons bed, I think it was. Hovering up is slower than hovering down. So in general, as soon as you've got the height you need, if there's still more horizontal distance you need to cross, you should immediately start hovering down. And like you can see the difference between how fast that jump up was. And then you do a really quick hover here. You're already at 1079. This is already a second and a half over 3 jumps. Sorry, 4 jumps. And I imagine that's going to be the theme that persists throughout this whole thing. This platform here, I'm gonna wait for it to come up again. This is another one where it comes up for. This right here, normally you would probably reach the height for this before you make it all the way over to the platform. So you would hover brake if necessary to not have to hover all this extra distance like this. It's doubly unfortunate here because you land all the way out here. And so all of this platform right here, you're missing all of that in ground speed. So you're slower here, which means it's a domino effect where since you didn't get as much horizontal speed there, now you have less horizontal speed for this jump. So now you're too far out for this jump too. And you're too far up. And so that was probably like, if you kept running, that was like a 21 check, which you should have kept running. Whereas ideally you would want like an 18 there. So this is already like 3 seconds. I understand in this case though, fair enough. This, hey, what is, can this icon go away? Here, I'm gonna, okay, there we go. So yeah, at least in this case I can understand because landing on that fence is a little finicky. I will say regarding this as well, let's see, since you landed so far here, this is going to make this jump more awkward, but ideally you would jump onto this corner, or you would jump hover onto that corner, and then you can make that platform to that platform with just a jump. And so since you're having to hover here too, this is just another domino effect kind of thing where this is losing more time because of this approach. And I am a huge advocate for this strat with the pyramid jump. In order to do it quickly, you want to land on it, and then you want to turn all the way right before you jump. You turn right, you need to make sure you visibly see Eggman turn right, and you jump. You get an okay one here, but you do see you still get bounced back here a bit. Okay, here we go. I think this IL has pyramid jump in it. So yeah, you can see here I land straight up, I turn right, and then I jump, and that makes it so that Eggman pretty much jumps straight up. Generally, you would also like to just do regular jumps onto this platform and then this platform instead of hovering. But again, fair if you don't want to do that. You would also... This one I will actually just recommend you do. This platform, you will just auto make this if you just do a tap jump from the end of this platform. It's super lenient and very fast. And then you do the same thing from that first platform onto this platform you're landing on, where you just do another jump. That one I think you can just get away with full jumping, and if you do it at the end of the platform, you'll just snap to the ledge. I would just recommend messing with it. Cosmic Wall is definitely a stage that a lot of people don't put a lot of effort into because it's basically a 40-second long stage. So you can't lose too much time, but I will say you're losing about 6 seconds here. Like, just before the out of bounds. So if the out of bounds loses more even, that's... Okay. Looking like a pretty good out of bounds. A lot of people like to play the out of bounds like a chicken. So it's good to see you playing the out of bounds properly. Okay, you can definitely turn by this point. Okay, all right. I know what I just said. I think this is just like a not aware of when you can turn. If this platform over here is showing up and you still haven't turned yet, this is just free time loss. You can turn even earlier than this, but this is the cue that I'm always like, everybody, no matter how safe you're playing it, should have turned by this point. But ideally, you can actually turn like probably like here, maybe even a little earlier than here. But definitely turn by the time you see that second part of that platform show up.
I wonder if I could like let a cutscene play out.
Where do you turn? There's no way we hold this. Okay, no. Please turn. Please turn. Thank you.
Can I do that?
Okay. I will say out of bounds doesn't lose too much time because it's just hovering over a very long stretch, so like turning 5 seconds earlier really is only frames. But it definitely can add up. Yeah, and also, despite the fact that you turned late, oh, you turn even more, that's why. You're actually, this is the angle you want to be at. This one right here. When do you turn more? You turn more here? Okay, no, don't turn like this. The visual cue that I always like to use for this is the left side of this platform right here should be lined up with Eggman's right shoulder. And like you see, since you turned more, you're like way to the left of the tunnel. Is it because we don't drop down? Okay, that's why. Regarding the drop down, I would recommend just lining yourself up for the tunnel, and then at some point once you see the tunnel in view above you, just release A for exactly 2 seconds and continue hovering. And you should never have any issues of being too low or hitting the camera trigger. The thing you can look for if you're really concerned about it, this second to last yellow line here, if Eggman is going to pass through close to that yellow line, go lower. If Eggman is passing through at this last yellow line, that looks like about where he's passing through, you're probably in good shape. Also, it's a sphere, so if you're really worried about hitting it, just hug the left side of the tunnel. The middle is going to be a lot more strict, but if you hug the left side of the tunnel, you should never have any issues with that. So yeah, in the end, this is about 8 seconds of time loss. I've definitely seen I've definitely seen a trend of people not really pushing Cosmic Wall super hard, and like I understand that. But with how good your mech fundamentals are everywhere else, I feel like you could definitely push that time quite a bit lower. I think you're going for the Divu method here, and it just didn't work out too well for you. But that was a solid backup. How'd that happen again? Yeah, because ideally what you just do is you hit him once, he hits you, you hit him the second time, and then you start running forward and you time the, or then you buffer the punch. Getting that shot right there was insanely clutch. I think this laser was going to kill you. Yeah, this laser was 100% going to kill you if you didn't get out of the way. But either way, you're chilling. 24-15. So did we get like third try fling? Or does something happen in Sonic 2? Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Fling will be fling.
Bro, jump the fuck up, bro. Please.
Looks good. Yeah, no, you 100% make this without issues.
Bro.
We still get like 23 Sonic 2? What happens? No, okay. I saw the up left and I thought you were about to cross over the left and I was... Okay, no, it's just a homing attack thing. Alright. That happens. Yeah, I don't know if it's something you're aware of. It's probably not something that plagues you. It's mostly something that plagues hero runners who are used to crossing to the right for Shadow 2. And that's what I thought was happening whenever I saw your input display. But I realized you were just following along with the direction Shadow was already going. So Sonic is like weird and jank with these homing attack chains, where, and this applies for Shadow 2 as well, if you ever go to play Hero Story. If you hit them on the left, sometimes you'll get jank hits where you'll hit them, but then you'll drop down and it just ruins the whole chain. And that sucks, right? So you always want to make sure to initiate the homing attack chain on the right side. What I recommend for the first hit here, you can literally just hold up for this first hit. This also might help you. I think this may be what's causing your homing attack woes. Of the timing is like pretty standard for when you're doing these, but you're holding A after you hit this homing attack on all of these hits. And so what's happening is that you're using hover frames. And you're like going back further because of it. But it's only for the first hit. Do you see that? Like, watch this hit. See how high you went up here? And now watch this hit. Because you're out of hover frames now. So you're way lower. And so I think that may actually be what's causing you problems here. Make sure you're tapping A on all of these homing attacks. Because if you're using your hover frames, it's going to change the timing of the homing attacks for you depending on the hit. It looks like, I don't know if this is always true, but it looks like right now anyway, you have been having issues of not getting clean Sonic 2s. So I wonder if that's probably a lot of why, because yeah, this is just making the fight way harder than it needs to be for you. Where everything else about the fight you're doing right, the homing attack timing you're doing looks right, but because you're having this whole issue of hover frames, it's mixing up your timing. So yeah.
Fucking shit, bro.
Yeah, GG on the PB. I mean,
goddamn, at what cost, bro?
Yeah,
At what cost?
I definitely feel like it's, I can just tell watching this that like you definitely already have what it takes to get a PB quite a bit better than this. Your fundamentals in all three playstyles, honestly, but especially mech, it feels like, is really strong. But I don't know. I really just feel like it's just iron out some of these other kinks and work on some of the little things, and you should get to a point where, I mean, I wouldn't be too terribly surprised if you PB and PB again pretty soon. So I think that's about it. I would hope so. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. But yeah, just let me know if you have any other questions. Hope this ramble is of help to you, and good luck.